So Yu-Gi-Oh has a mid-range elitist problem. This is a very interesting video. People have been talking about this a lot, and I wanted to talk about it too. I wanted to talk about it. I know my opinion is probably not as important and as literally everyone else's, but I still want to talk about it. I feel like it's a really interesting topic for this channel specifically, and I will get there. We will get there. I will get there. Because first of all, there's two discussions here, right? It's like, yeah, the elitist problem, but also what exactly is mid-range? What are we talking about? And that is also an interesting discussion. Now, defining decks or whatever, it's gonna be harder for me at least. But the part that I care the most about is elitism, because I feel like I know about it and it particularly involved me. Because while watching this video, I was like, wait, I'm being called out. Wait, I am the elitist. I am this video is about me. So let's watch it. Let's watch it and you will see what I mean.
Hey guys, Anthony here, and today I wanted to talk about an issue that I've been seeing pop up more and more. It's happened to me I've seen this happen at locals, I've seen this happen on Discord and group chats, in all sorts of places.
What is the problem, Anthony?
Like this issue needs to be brought up more and talked about in more detail.
Elitist reacts to elitism in Yu-Gi-Oh! Insane title. Thank you so much. Yeah, put it in the video.
And that is why Yu-Gi-Oh! Has a mid-range elitism problem. So you may or may not know, I recently have been trying to talk about my 60 card roll-ad combo deck, and I've got a lot of people like playing it, and I've seen it talked about in other places, and I've seen like it being played in locals and the people's reactions against it. And here is what I wanted to say about like a lot of the stuff that I've seen going on. So
okay, for those who don't know, because I know this channel is mostly Master Duel, Roulette is an archetype in the TCG, just came out in the TCG, right? That is like ritual of light and darkness, right? Or something like that, right? And this player, this duelist, made a slop pile. Let's call it what it is, right? Let's call it what it is. A slop pile of different things in in order to make a deck that is basically unbeatable, right? And a lot of people have been copying this pile and play it themselves, right? And this is what happened. Hello, Laser.
So let's get to the presentation. So what is a mid-range deck? So coming from other card games, a mid-range deck is a deck that usually aims to slam the most effective creatures on curve and curate their game plan based on their opponent's deck. Versus an aggro deck, a mid-range deck tends to control the board. Versus a control deck, the mid-range deck can aim to play aggressive. The main thing about a mid-range deck is it focuses on the trading of resources, and it focuses on card advantage. So here are some example mid-range decks in other card games.
This means literally nothing to me because I don't know other card games. But I mean, from what I've heard, these are like good examples. Probably not the most iconic examples of each game, but they are definitely good examples.
I've played Shadowverse, I played a little bit of Magic, I've played Hearthstone, and in these games, usually the mid-range deck is the type of deck that it slams a 1-drop on 1, or it doesn't have a 1-drop, it slams the best 2-drop on 2, it slams the best 3-drop on 3, slams the best 4-drop on 4, and then aims to value you during the game, but it's not necessarily skewed towards control or aggro. It's usually like the most balanced type of deck.
Oh, yeah, so that's the definition that we're going for, right? It's a balanced deck that doesn't do a lot of one thing. It's just like it's gonna play a certain way depending on what the opponent is playing, right? If the opponent is playing whatever aggro is, you're gonna play the opposite of that beats it, right? If the opponent is playing control, then they're gonna play more of the opposite, and that's the thing. Picking Sage Rhino for Magic is funny. You can tell exactly when he played Magic. Ah, okay. So these are like the examples that he knows by the time he was playing. Okay, it makes sense. But that's why it works, right? Because every one of these are representative of the different meta I suppose.
And why do so many players like mid-range deck? Mid-range decks are often seen as
The
fair
audio
card game
violence
decks.
is...
When a mid-range deck is strong, it usually means that there's a back and forth in the game. It means that both players are having a chance to do what their deck is intended to do, and there is a trading of resources going on. One side is slowly accumulating card advantage over the other, and people like gameplay where one side is slowly accumulating card advantage and slowly winning over that period of time. And
so what does this sound like to you, chat? For those Yu-Gi-Oh players, what kind of deck does this sound like? I think what I think originally was like, oh yeah, this is like Big Dracotail, right? Big Dracotail was this. I don't know if there is a better example, but yeah, people were saying that that was the healthiest that Yu-Gi-Oh has ever been when Dracotail was the #1, and he said, yeah, that was fun. There was a fun Duelist Cup with when Dracotail was the only deck, basically. Not the only deck, but you know what I mean.
I personally also enjoy playing mid-range decks in other card games. I think that I do agree in the fact that if a mid-range deck is the best deck in the game, it usually means that there's some form of gameplay going on. For example,
This is something very interesting. He already, I don't know what he thinks, because he already said that, oh yeah, the game is like most like balanced and fair and fun when the best decks are mid-range, right? I don't know how anyone could argue that, but yeah, because it's usually like that. I will say, however, that when that's not the case, the game is bad always. Oh, but only you're gonna say something like, oh, only Sid's talking absolute, right? So yeah, I don't know enough about the game. That's why this is not what I'm here to talk about.
If aggro is the best deck in the game, then you know it's there kind of is just non-game sometimes. If I brick and you just go 1, 2, 3 and you kill me, and if the control deck is the best deck in the game, well, games last forever, and like there's like not a lot of things going on, right? You play a monster, I remove it. You play a card, I remove it. So yeah, there's a reason why mid-range has always been so popular. But there's an issue with mid-range in Yu-Gi-Oh. So what is mid-range in current Yu-Gi-Oh? There are some of the examples of the best mid-range decks in Yu-Gi-Oh right now are Roland mid-range piles, Branded, and Sky Striker. The issue is, Roland mid-range aims to resolve Celtic Mystic on both players' turns. They do it on, if they go first, they do it on your turn. On their turn, they draw 3, discard 2. They discard cards with graveyard effects. Oh shoot, they just went up 5 cards on you. And then on your turn, they either add that Celtic Mystic back with the ritual spell, or they have a second one, and then they just go Mind Shuffle, bounce back their ritual, summon Celtic Mystic, draw 3 more cards. They have 15 hand traps in their deck. They have Harmonia. They summon the Harmonia on you. They bounce the Harmonia, and suddenly, like, they're up 20. They're up 10 cards on you. They resolve Skull Archfiend on your turn and my turn. They add 2 cards to the grave, 2 cards to their hand. Lightning Dark Ritual adds 2 cards back to their hand every rotation. Celtic Mystic draws them to 3 new cards. They ditch the 2 least popular cards in their hand. And then Branded. Branded typically adds the top 3 cards you see on the screen back to the hand every single turnaround. They aim to sit on this 3500 tower card that is marginally hard to out. And then they aim to, during both players' end phases, generate an entirely new hand out of thin air. And if you play against those decks...
Out of thin air.
It's either you do the same thing, or you try to beat them, but if you let them get to turn 3, they just refresh their hand every turn, and you're a deck that can't refresh your hand every turn, and then you just lose. Also, I do agree that Fallen Virtuous is a good card. I don't think Fallen Virtuous, there's any problems inherently with the design. It's just the issue that it exacerbates the issue that every deck goes +5 during the end phase. It's like, now, your fault.
You know what? I feel like Falling on the Virtues is a good and healthy card in every deck outside of Branded. Because Branded can search it. And that's what makes it, you know, toxic. In Branded. But outside of Branded, it's a really good and cool card. Yeah. Hello, Beltane. Welcome.
Fallen Virtuous traded with one of my best starters, and then now you're also getting it back. Which is kind of crazy, right? And if you're a type of player that doesn't want to play like these mid-range deck mirror matches, how do you exploit mid-range decks? So one of the biggest issues with mid-range decks is that they don't actually put up that many interruptions. If you think about Sky Striker, if you think about Rolad midrange, like branded Rolad, if you think about pure branded, they actually don't have that many interruptions. Like compared to like Cool Tune can like interrupt you, like Vanquish Soul and Cool Tune, those decks can interrupt you like 7 or 8 times during your turn. They might be small interruptions, but they like pop a card here, pop a card there, banish a card here, right? Negate this one. But most mid-range decks only have 3 to 4 interruptions. Like for example, you take the mid-range Rolad deck. They have the Fallen Virtuous. They usually have the banish off BLS. They usually have like one Harmonia in the hand or an Ash Blossom they drew into, and then they usually have their old Elbaz. That's it, right? And if you play against Sky Striker, if they full combo you, they usually have their set 5 and then a 0.
Set 5 and Striker Ace. Striker Ace, wait. Sky Striker Ace 0. Yeah, that's the name, right? Yeah, that's the link, yeah. And those cards are not that good. Those set 5 are not that good. The thing is, like, they are recyclable. That's what makes the deck good.
And then if you play against branded, it's more of the same thing. They have their old Elbaz fuse, they have their Fallen Virtuous, they may have a Jade Banish, they may have some loops with Quem, but it's nowhere near the amount of interruptions that an actual like combo deck would have. And if you put more engines and more gas into your deck, you have the ability to like pierce through the low amount of interruptions that the mid-range deck has, and you can counter their game plan by not letting them see the turn 3 that they get an entirely new hand on.
With my experience in Yu-Gi-Oh, nowadays almost every deck is combo deck, except maybe Classic Stun or something like Lab. So Lab will be controlled, right, under these definitions. And Sky Striker, would a Sky Striker be a combo deck to you? I don't think so, right? So probably branded shouldn't also be considered. Well, the mid-range branded, right? The 40 decks, not the 60. No, the 60 pile, even the 60 pile could be. I don't know. I actually don't know much about the 60 card pile branded.
Most mid-range decks also instinctively try to play for follow-up.
That's where I fail. That's where I fail. I try to end the games with Sky Striker. I try to not think about the game 3 because I hate you're going to turn 3. And that's what I've been trying to get better at thinking about the future and stuff. Sky Striker murders the water really bad. It stands on the line between 4 lines. Isn't that what a mid-range deck is then? Isn't that exactly what mid-range means? What are we talking about, right? Under these definitions, yeah, that's what a mid-range deck is. That would be the best example then.
Most of their cards and interruptions usually also generate follow-up. So one of the best ways to beat them is either you go first and you set up an unbeatable board of 7 negates. And, well, I'm not saying literally 7 negates, but like you set up like double-digit interruptions so that the mid-range deck, usually most of their cards aim to interrupt you somehow, not that much, and then they aim to get a bunch of follow-up back, right?
Don't you think it's funny how basically what this discussion is like, oh yeah, since your deck is good and you play it well, the only way that I can beat you is by creating non-games. That's what Yu-Gi-Oh is like. So I'm gonna have a deck that is combo deck that basically you're not gonna be able to activate a single card, and that's how I win. and don't you think that's exactly why mid-range deck players don't like this? Don't you think that's the reason? Because you're creating non-games? Am I crazy, chat? Am I crazy? I don't know. At the end of the day, it's just like whatever everyone definition of what Yu-Gi-Oh should be and how it should be played is, right? Because I have my own opinions and he clearly has a different opinion of what Yu-Gi-Oh should be. And he's the better player. That means that my opinion doesn't count, right? So I guess whatever I say doesn't matter. Also, for this definition, Malice also mid-range, since they get reasonable follow-up, but they are mainly. That's the thing. Okay, that's a very important thing, Beltane. Every deck is mid-range. In Yu-Gi-Oh, every deck is mid-range. It's just like some decks are some decks are more mid-range than others, right? And Malice is more of a combo deck than mid-range. And a deck like Branded or Sky Striker are more mid-range than anything else, right? But because depending on the situation, they could go more control or more combo or whatever, right? I don't know. These definitions are dumb at the end of the day. So yeah.
But if you just don't let that happen, you have more interruptions than they have cards in their hand. Usually, they don't win. And then if you go second against them, if you have enough gas where you just gas through the 4 interruptions and then you kill them, they'll never live to see the follow-up, right?
So at the end of the day, skill doesn't matter, right? If you're playing a combo deck full of gas, right? Because you either have all the cards, they have to think about their negates and whatever, but at the end of the day, you're gonna play more. You just have more things, more gas in slot piles, and you're gonna win the game. And those are non-games. There is no fun. Where's the fun? I don't know.
So that's like a really good method of counterplay. I would say that if you're not a mid-range player yourself and you want to beat mid-range, this is a very, very good way to beat mid-range.
Yeah, you just want to beat mid-range. You don't want to play Yu-Gi-Oh! You want to beat mid-range players. I don't know. Am I crazy, chat? Am I an elitist? What are we doing here? I don't know. I feel like it all like makes sense. I don't know what we're gonna see, because this video goes crazy right about this part.
But the issue with that is most of the Yu-Gi-Oh community really hates it when they're wholesome mid-range slop deck. You can see I'm biased, by the way, because well, like I play both sides of the clock. Right? I also play mid-range decks. I don't know this person, right? But it doesn't feel like that. Draco Tail. I loved playing these like branded mid-range decks. But also, you have to realize that not everybody wants to keep playing this together like forever, right? There is
not everyone wants to play Yu-Gi-Oh. You just it's not about playing Yu-Gi-Oh. Not everyone wants to play Yu-Gi-Oh. Don't play it then.
There's time limits in the match. If you guys both know that if a branded player like puts a mirror match against each other, that stuff goes to time basically every single game. I don't want to be playing this type of game like every.
I don't want to play Yu-Gi-Oh! I just want to make my board and win. What?
Every single time. And if I want to counter you with my combo deck, and I win against you, the mid-range player gets super salty, because in their eyes, their mid-range deck is super skillful. They have to like grind for multiple turns. They have to play everything correctly. They don't have that many interruptions, so they have to quote-unquote tactically, skillfully use their interruptions to make sure they survive the turn.
He's talking about me! Chad, he's talking about me! He's saying exactly everything I say every single stream! Oh my god!
In order to get their follow-up. And when they don't see their follow-up, they get super salty.
Yes!
They're saying that your Yu-Gi-Oh is wrong. They're saying that you're playing bad Yu-Gi-Oh. They're saying that you're...
That's what I say!
You're like playing some sloppily stops of her. Yeah, exactly. And
I love it, because I get like clocked so hard in this. It's like I can't believe it, because I thought I was being original. I thought like I had like independent thoughts, right? I thought I had free will, and I just didn't know this was a common thing. I didn't know this was a common thing. I'm gonna be honest.
And this is not just me. I literally witnessed this. A bunch of my friends at locals copied my deck. And when I see it played against other people...
Okay, I need you to pay attention to this part, because this is what at the end of the day this video is about. What did he say? Let's go back.
Exactly. And this is not just me. I literally witnessed this. A bunch of my friends at locals copied my deck.
Copied my deck. Very important. They copied his deck. And we're gonna go back to that.
And when I see it played against other people, like their opponents, one opponent last week literally said nobody likes you in front of his face. Like after he lost, he was playing RB. He went first. He set up like Regulus, Trap, Field Spell, and then like 2 RB monsters. And then my friend had like 5 engine cards in hand, and then he just like played through all of that, and then he killed him with like with his hand, and then he just kept saying during the combo, like every single time my friend went bridged into a new engine, they're like, dude, who likes slop? Nobody likes slop. Why are you playing slop? Nobody likes this. And he just keeps saying that, and somehow the Yu-Gi-Oh community has conditioned people to think that this is okay.
Why we're gonna take this as face value, and we're gonna assume that this literally happened like as word for word, right? That's messed up because what are we doing here, right? I'm pretty sure that's not even allowed, right? Why would you start like treating your opponent, like disrespecting your opponent like that? I feel like that's a bad thing, and that shouldn't be done. Like I personally do this with you, chat, especially with Pablo, right? Lead mod, by the way. Pablo plays his towers and flute gates, and I'm like, oh my god, you only won because you just happened to draw the cards, and I just happened to didn't draw the out. That was a bad game. Fuck you, Pablo. Eat shit, right? But I do that because I know Pablo, and Pablo knows me, and we're joking here, right? You don't do this with a stranger that you're playing with or against, right? You don't do that. That's messed up, right? And when this happened, what you're supposed to do is calling a judge, right? Well, not calling. You should probably tell to your opponent, right? No, you call a judge, dude. You call a judge and try to shark that, because at the end of the day, that's what you care about, is winning, right? That's just the only thing you care about is getting a result. So if your opponent does this to you, what you do is call a judge and you enjoy your free win, right? So that's the result anyways. So what are we discussing here? That's what you should do in case this happens. Like, obviously, I'm not justifying anything. I'm saying that's wrong. If you do this, fuck you, right? You're a shit person for disrespecting your opponent like that. I mean, what is this? You're gonna constantly be doing that? You can out your frustrations, but there is ways of doing it, right? So, but saying like, oh, no one likes you, right? Fuck you, right? What is this? No, that's not okay. And I don't know. If I ever done that and I ever make you feel like that, please call me out, because that was never my intention. I just thought that we had we were playfully bantering right here in our little small community. People forget that this is a game for fun. Personal attacks are fucked up. Yeah, exactly. Like there is the thing like I do with some of the viewers that are like more of regulars here, and we banter with each other, right? That's a different thing. But like doing something like this in a tournament, even in locals, is messed up, and that's where you are supposed to call a judge. Yes.
Shitting on other people's decks is okay, and
yeah.
that's not okay.
Yeah.
Your deck does what your deck wants to do. My deck does what my deck wants to do. We're both playing decks that are legal for the format. What makes you think that your deck is better than my deck? Right? You can think that there's something like unbalanced about the deck, but you can't just like verbally abuse combo players for their combo decks. Like fundamentally, what's wrong with pile decks? Pile decks have a ton of innovation in them. Pile deck players spend so much time trying to work on their combos to make sure that this bridges into that bridges into this. Like
that's very important, because yeah, you see why some people enjoy combo decks, because they work outside of the game. They don't just copy a deck list, right? They actually think. They use their brain and cook something really good. And if I see someone playing an FTK, right? And it's like, bro, you made this? And they're like, yeah, I made this. I was cooking this for like weeks, right? And it's like, bro, dab me up, right? Dab me up. You are good at Yu-Gi-Oh! You made something very creative and you should be rewarded for it, right? That's awesome. That's awesome. So I don't mind getting like FTK by something cool if you invented it. The problem is that other people copy it and they enjoy the free wins without any of the effort, without any of the skill, without any of the knowledge, right? That's why it like makes all people mad. Now that doesn't mean that you are meant to insult them and verbally abuse them, right? Obviously not. But I understand the frustration of people just enjoying free wins without any of the effort, just throwing a coin, right? Even if it's unbalanced, that's not players' fault. That's format problem. Don't put frustration on them. You know what? I didn't even consider that, Beltane. You're so right. Those cards that allow get decks like that should not exist, and that is not the problem of the player, because at the end of the day, what players want is to win, right? Some players. I personally care more about having good games, right? But you know, content creator and stuff, right? At the end of the day, people want the game is a competitive game, and the thing that matters is to win, and you're gonna get all the resources you can to win. So if you can create something that is unbeatable, why not play it, right? Why not play it? The problem is that the format shouldn't allow some decks to be unbeatable. And you're so right. I didn't even consider that.
It's one of the most, like, one of the reasons why I got into Yu-Gi-Oh in the first place. I really hate that now, like I'm not saying everybody has an issue with, but I'm saying that there are like a bunch of players like that actively post videos about how like, oh, this type of gameplay is unhealthy, and then casual players take it the wrong way, and they start shitting on the people's feelings in their face, and it really just isn't what I'm trying to get with Yu-Gi-Oh, right? I'm trying to play Yu-Gi-Oh to relax, right? I'm not trying.
Okay, what the fuck? this is the part that always baffles me. What do you mean you're playing the game to relax? I thought you were playing to win. That's what you wanted, to make a deck that that was unbeatable, right? Why are you playing Yu-Gi-Oh if you want to relax? I that's what I'm confused. I know this person is mad, right? Obviously, and he's just like speaking like his truth, right? But I don't understand. Like, who plays a competitive game to relax? That's not a thing, right? There are a bunch of games that you can play to relax. Maybe some other card games. Maybe, I don't know many card games, right? But Yu-Gi-Oh is not a game to relax. There is no way. What are you doing, right?
I'm not trying to, like, after 5 days of work, go to a locals and get shit on for playing a deck that like I spent time on. You know, I feel like,
yeah, that I see that. Obviously, nobody deserves to get shit on because of the whatever you think is better, right? Not to your face. We can talk about it like I'm talking here. I'm doing it mostly for debate and to doubling down, right? I like doubling down. I feel like it's funny.
like, in general, that the community has to improve. We have to stop like parroting the fact that like if anybody doesn't play like this mid-range slop back and
Midrange slop, by the way,
forth, that they're playing unskilled Yu-Gi-Oh. I feel like that just is not something that's healthy for the game. This is something that I've always like wanted to let loose about, and let me know if you agree with that. You know,
I like how this video turn how do I say this? People care more about the mid-range part rather than the elitist part, which is the real problem. The real problem is the elitism, not like the definition of mid-range. That I feel like that's really funny. I agree that FTK style decks are unhealthy and potentially push players out of competing. That falls to Konami to balance them better, not the person playing to win. One Dimension Shifter, by the way. So true. Those are cards that instantly win the game and should not exist, right? There is a lot of cards that should not exist because they put it in a perfect world. For me, what I would like is that only mid-range, quote unquote. I'm doing the thing with my hands, even though you cannot see them. Every deck in Yu-Gi-Oh will be mid-range decks, right? In my perfect world, Yu-Gi-Oh will be just well, not like decks like that, right? Like Draco Tail Like, I don't like Branded personally because they have a tower. But if we ban that card, I feel like I'm okay with it. I'm not happy about it, but I'm okay with it, right? The Sky Striker and Rollout or whatever, right? In a perfect world, every deck will be midrange, and I think like that's what Yu-Gi-Oh kinda is, right? Every deck is already kind of midrange, but some decks just go to extremes, and that's the ones that create non-games. And to me, non-games are the real problem. And I cannot blame other people for playing that, I guess. If they want to just win, right? But say it how it is. I care about winning. I don't care about having fun. I'm just exploiting something that shouldn't exist, right? And that's, I guess that's okay. I don't know. Yeah, I agree. It really sounds like the elitism is his main issue, but there will always be elitists. Yeah, but I mean, I don't know if that's the right way to put it. Just because there is always gonna be something bad doesn't mean that we cannot strive to be better, right? I love interactive removal. I love making decisions instead of negating all 6 cards in my opponent's hand. Yeah, that's me. I don't know. Maybe I don't know if I'm contradicting myself. From my point of view, we can criticize other people without being like assholes about it, right? We can criticize the game and their playstyle or whatever without being like that. But I don't know. I like to double down. I like to talk on extremes. That's why you will see me all the time here from from Monday to Fridays at 5 p.m. EDT, shitting on Pablo every time, right? And Pablo shits on me, right? That's the playful banter that we do in this channel, right? So yeah, I just wanted to talk about this because it's really funny. I'm gonna be honest. This reads like rage bait to me. Is it rage bait? Wait, what I'm saying or what this video is saying? Hold on.
Anyways, yeah, this is like a video I wanted to make out of the blue, but yeah, this has been tense up for a while, so if you disagree with me, feel free to leave in the comments why you think that's the case, and yeah, peace.
Yeah, I mean, well, I ultimately agree on the fact that people shouldn't be assholes, right? But we just have disagreements on what the game should be and why we play the game. So we're just different type of players. So video, no, the guy is already rage baited. That's the problem. The guy is already rage baited, so he's just like letting it all out, and that's fine. I also wanted to do that. I wish I had the courage to do this, and I feel like I am not like good enough in order to make proper arguments. So good for him. That's not midrange problem. A-holes are a-holes are a-holes. Whatever they play. True. Yep, I will stop when they ban engage. See, that's what I mean. Because I say, you know, Pablo, your deck doesn't require skill. You just put towers and hope I don't have outs. And then he's gonna say, oh, you just draw cards. You just get random cards at random and you just win the game because you draw a bunch of cards. Right? Obviously, you generate more advantage, so obviously, right? And that's fine, right? That's fine. We have our own playstyles, and I'm gonna shit on his, and he's gonna shit on me, on mine, whatever. Anyways, that's just what I wanted to talk about. I love Dynamorphia.